The 10 most mysterious and ancient ships suddenly discovered by archaeologists that shocked the world. Surely at some point all of us have wondered, what really happened to the ships that vanished into the depths of the ocean? They set sail full of hope and dreams, only to disappear without a trace into the mist of history. Yet, when these ancient shipwrecks are found, lying deep beneath icy ocean floors or stranded in desolate, forgotten lands, a door to the past suddenly swings open, revealing haunting and mysterious stories. Have you ever imagined that a single decaying hull could tell the tale of an entire lost era? Some ships carried treasures worth millions of dollars, while others stand as silent witnesses to great migrations, wars, or humanity's most daring explorations. These vessels are like time machines, not merely means of transportation, but quiet testaments to history, culture, and human tragedy. In today's video, we'll journey through time and space, following the traces of the oldest ships ever unearthed. From the seafloor of the Mediterranean to the frozen marshlands of the north, each shipwreck holds a secret yet to be fully revealed. Get ready, because what you're about to witness is more than rusted metal. It's an entire realm of hidden wonders waiting to be unlocked. And now, without further delay, let's dive in and explore together. The Ghost Yacht, frozen beneath the Antarctic Sea, the mystery of Mar-sem-Fim. Have you ever imagined a place so desolate, so brutally cold, that icy winds slash across a frozen sea with no trees, no birdsong, just ice, snow, and a vast, bottomless ocean? That's the southernmost region of our planet, Antarctica, one of the harshest environments on Earth, but also home to countless unsolved mysteries. To begin today's video, we're diving into one of the strangest tales ever to emerge from this frozen world. The journey of a ghost ship frozen beneath Antarctic waters, Mar-sem-Fim, which means endless sea. Mar-sem-Fim wasn't an old cargo ship or military vessel. It was a modern Brazilian yacht, owned by renowned journalist and businessman João Lara Mesquita. In April 2012, he and 3 colleagues traveled to the waters off Antarctica to film a documentary focused on the region's environment and ecosystem. But none of them could have predicted that their journey would end in such a haunting and mysterious disaster. The story unfolds on April 7th, while the yacht was anchored in a small cove called Ardley Bay, part of Maxwell Bay, about 750 miles south of the tip of South America. A sudden, violent storm struck. Winds exceeding 62 mph battered the yacht, causing it to tilt and eventually capsize. The hull was torn apart by relentless wind and waves, and all efforts to stabilize the vessel failed. Fortunately, all 4 crew members were rescued just in time by the Chilean Navy stationed at nearby base fields, narrowly avoiding a deadly tragedy. However, the real mystery began after the yacht was abandoned. The temperature in this remote sea dropped so low that the water around the vessel almost completely froze, locking it in a dense sheet of ice. In a short time, the pressure from the surrounding ice caused the hull to split open, and the yacht was pushed down to the bottom of the bay at a depth of approximately 30 feet. No one could approach Mar-sem-Fim for many months, except for eerie overhead photos showing the vessel partially submerged like a ghost trapped beneath the transparent ice, an image both beautiful and unsettling. You'd think the story ended there, but in early 2013, João Lara Mesquita made the bold decision to return to Antarctica and attempt to recover his yacht. When weather conditions finally permitted, he and a team of divers launched a challenging salvage mission. Divers braved the freezing waters to wrap ropes around the wreck's hull, securing them to specially designed airbags placed on each side. These airbags were slowly inflated, gradually lifting the yacht to the surface after nearly a year submerged beneath the ice. When Mar-sem-Fim finally resurfaced, it was a deeply emotional moment. The yacht was badly damaged, its hull cracked, its interior equipment nearly beyond repair, but the overall structure remained intact enough to support recovery efforts. It was later towed ashore, where scientists were able to salvage cameras, sensors, and materials related to the unfinished documentary. Sadly, although the vessel was insured for $700,000 USD, it was considered unsalvageable after 10 months beneath the frozen sea. Mar-sem-Fim was not just a maritime accident, it was a testament to the sheer brutality of Antarctica, a place where even the most advanced machines become helpless. At the same time, the ship stood like a living tomb, a place where time seemed frozen, forcing humanity to confront its own limits. 200-year-old shipwreck, with cannon discovered off the coast of Mexico. Beneath the deep blue waters off the coast of Quintana Roo, Mexico, where sunlight filters gently through layers of waves to create a surprisingly peaceful scene, lies a hidden truth. A forgotten story from history is slowly being revealed beneath layers of sediment and coral. It is the wreck of a sailing ship more than 200 years old, bearing the clear traces of a tragic sinking, where sailors once fought desperately and in vain to survive. Recently, Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, INAH, released the first official details about the shipwreck, dubbed Manuel Polanco, a maritime relic carrying mysterious clues from the 18th and 19th centuries. Although most of the wooden structure has decayed after centuries underwater, key metal components remain remarkably intact. Among them is a cannon measuring over 8 feet in length, a strong indication that this was once an armed vessel, possibly used for military transport, escorting cargo, or even naval combat. In addition, archaeologists discovered a large anchor and several heavy iron ingots, which were likely used as ballast to stabilize the ship while at sea. These artifacts have helped researchers reconstruct parts of the ship's original layout and function, though the exact date of the wreck remains under investigation. What makes this discovery even more intriguing is its location, the Chinchorro Bank, a ring-shaped coral reef that's long been one of the most dangerous stretches of sea in Caribbean maritime history. Nicknamed the Nightmare Reef, this area has claimed dozens of ships over the centuries, many of which struck the razor-sharp coral hidden just beneath the surface. Researchers believe the Manuel Polanco may have met a similar fate, crashing into the reef and prompting its desperate crew to drop anchor in an effort to stabilize the vessel in the strong currents. Sadly, their efforts were in vain. What adds another twist to the tale is the origin of the name Manuel Polanco. It isn't the ship's actual name, but rather the name of the man who first discovered and reported the wreck back in the 1990s. Manuel Polanco, now in his 80s, is a local fisherman and passionate underwater explorer who spent the 1960s and 1970s diving the reefs of this region. Over the years, he discovered dozens of shipwrecks, including famous finds like the 40 gunship and the Angel, a vessel known for transporting rare logwood from Mexico to Europe. Thanks to his dedication and persistence, archaeologists today have a solid foundation to research and reconstruct the turbulent maritime history of this coastline. Based on initial surveys, many experts suspect that Manuel Polanco was originally a British sailing vessel operating in the late 18th or early 19th century, a period marked by intense trade and naval conflict among European empires. However, to determine the ship's true nationality and function, researchers will need more time to carefully analyze recovered artifacts and cross-reference them with historical records. Was it a military ship, a merchant escort, or perhaps part of a treasure-laden convoy? These are the questions every maritime archaeologist dreams of answering. And here's something even more surprising. Manuel Polanco is just one of over 70 shipwrecks discovered in the Chinchorro Bank reef system, making this one of the largest underwater graveyards in all of Central America. Amazing, right? Each shipwreck here carries its own unique story, stories of trade, conflict, survival, and tragedy, each a vivid reminder of the ocean's unpredictability and power. Discoveries like these are not only archaeologically significant, but also open the door to underwater museum projects, where explorers, researchers, and enthusiasts alike can come together to experience and learn from the remnants of the past. Beneath layers of seaweed and barnacle-encrusted iron, the Manuel Polanco wreck continues to whisper its long-forgotten tale, a story of courage, catastrophe, and mystery beneath the waves. And although the ship has remained silent for more than 2 centuries, its voice from history grows clearer each day, thanks to the tireless efforts of those driven by the passion to explore. Shipwreck containing billions in treasure discovered off the coast of Colombia. It's hard to believe, isn't it? What once seemed like the stuff of legends or Hollywood blockbusters has now become a stunning reality. Recently, the Colombian Navy announced one of the most astonishing maritime archaeological discoveries of the 21st century. 2 ancient shipwrecks were found off the country's coast, ships filled with gold, silver, coins, bronze cannons, and centuries-old priceless artifacts. Experts say this is not just a discovery of massive material value, it is a time capsule opening a window into the dramatic past of the Spanish Empire and Colombia's fight for independence. Among the two ships, one has been identified as dating back to the Spanish colonial era, a time when Spain ruled much of South America, plundering its resources and shipping vast treasures back to Europe. The other is believed to be around 200 years old, likely linked to Colombia's independence war, a period when patriotic forces did everything they could to resist colonial control. Both wrecks were found at great depths in the Caribbean Sea, uncovered through a combination of advanced seabed scanning technology and valuable archived historical data. But the most remarkable part lies within these sunken vessels. Hundreds of gleaming gold coins, antique bronze cannons, and rare European porcelain pieces dating back to the 17th and 18th centuries. According to archaeologists and historians, the gold recovered from just one of the ships alone could be worth billions of US dollars, an almost unimaginable sum for any underwater excavation in recorded history. Experts also suggest that the treasure may have belonged to the Spanish crown, wealth extracted from its colonies and shipped to Europe to fund military campaigns, or perhaps to aristocrats and merchants whose fortunes were lost to war and violent storms at sea. Currently, Colombian authorities are developing a detailed plan to recover both ships and their full collection of artifacts. The operation is being approached with extreme caution and scientific precision, involving the Navy, archaeologists, conservation experts, and the National Museum. The goal is not only to bring the treasures to the surface, but also to study them, determine their exact age and origin, and most importantly, uncover the mysteries long buried beneath the ocean and the sands of time. What makes this discovery even more extraordinary is that beyond its material value, it offers an opportunity to better understand the region's maritime history and Colombia's crucial role in the transatlantic trade routes of centuries past. The recovered artifacts could help tell the stories of hundreds of sailors, traders, and warriors, nameless figures who shaped history, now finally being heard through the fragments left behind. Furthermore, preserving and displaying these items in museums will not only help future generations better understand their national heritage, but may also establish Colombia as a major destination on the global map of underwater archaeological tourism. This could mark the beginning of a new wave of discoveries in the country's treasure-rich waters, an area often referred to as the graveyard of colonial shipwrecks. 2,000-year-old sewn boat, unearthed beneath the ancient city of Poreč. Buried deep beneath the historic city of Poreč, one of the oldest settlements on Croatia's Istrian peninsula, archaeologists have uncovered a discovery that could reshape how we understand maritime history in the northern Adriatic region. A 2,000-year-old wooden boat, crafted using the rare and ancient technique of sewn boat building, an almost forgotten method that has all but vanished from the modern world. This boat is believed to date back to the 1st century AD, during the height of the Roman Empire's expansion across Europe and the Mediterranean. What makes this discovery particularly remarkable is not just its age, but its astonishing state of preservation, allowing researchers to reconstruct a long-lost shipbuilding technology with near-complete clarity. The sewing technique might sound unusual to modern ears, but it was a common shipbuilding method used by ancient peoples in the region historically known as Histria, now Istria. Instead of using nails or metal bolts like we do today, ancient craftsmen used ropes made from plant fibers, animal hide, or natural threads to literally sew wooden planks together. The result was a flexible, lightweight hull that could better withstand impacts in rough marine conditions. This method was a defining feature of early communities living around the northern Adriatic Sea and had previously been known through only a few rare shipwrecks, most notably the sewn boat discovered in Zambratija near the town of Umag. However, the Poreč find is even more significant. It's one of only 3 sewn boats ever discovered on land, rather than underwater. This allows archaeologists to access and preserve the vessel's structure far more easily and thoroughly. The Poreč boat measures about 16.5 feet long and 5.5 feet wide, and it was designed with a single sail. Its size and structure suggest it may have been used for nearshore fishing or short-distance transportation. Miraculously, the boat still retains much of its original frame, keel, and ribs, an extraordinary feat for an organic artifact that's 2 millennia old. The reason for its exceptional preservation lies in the environment where it was found. Buried deep in damp, compact soil and sealed in thick layers of mud, This created an oxygen-deprived environment that naturally slowed down the decomposition process and protected the wooden materials for thousands of years. In essence, it became a perfect time capsule, safeguarding a lost piece of human ingenuity. More than just an archaeological artifact, this boat is a vital clue to the daily life and maritime traditions of the ancient people who once lived in Porec. Previous research has shown that this area was a bustling Roman-era settlement with a coastal landscape that extended much farther inland than today. The boat's position underground not only reflects how the terrain has shifted over centuries, but also helps reconstruct the social, economic, and maritime life of the ancient inhabitants. 2,000 years ago, the people of Porec likely used boats just like this one to fish, trade, and travel along the Adriatic. Some may have even ventured farther out to connect with other coastal communities across the Mediterranean trade network. The discovery of this sewn boat has already been hailed as one of Croatia's most important maritime archaeological finds in the past 30 years. It opens a window into the ancient craft of boat building, an art form that was not merely functional, but also a vital cultural heritage of the communities that once thrived in this region. Today, archaeologists are working to digitally reconstruct the boat, using 3D scanning and detailed analysis of every part to preserve its structure and materials for future study and museum display. When people look at the Porec boat, they don't just see aged timber faded by time, they can feel the rhythm of oars, the wind catching in sails, and the determination of seafarers who conquered the waves with nothing but their skill and hands. This 2,000-year-old boat is no longer just a relic of the past, it is a timeless message reminding us that history is always present. Sometimes it's buried just a few layers beneath our feet, waiting for the moment it can return and share its story once more. 120-year-old shipwreck, unearthed beneath the salt. The story began with a storm sweeping across Utah's Great Salt Lake, bringing winds of up to 50 mph. Nature itself, like an unsuspecting archaeologist, uncovered rotting wooden planks and rusted steel beams from a shipwreck resting not far from the shoreline. But this was no ordinary abandoned vessel. It was a crucial part of the early 20th century supply chain, when America's transcontinental railroad was expanding rapidly and required a range of logistical support systems. The ship, estimated to be between 30 to 40 feet long, was built with a combination of steel and wood, a common design for small cargo ships in the early 1900s. What stood out was how severely the hull had been corroded by salt. The Great Salt Lake's extreme conditions had aggressively oxidized the metal, while time had reduced the wooden elements to near collapse. Based on its location, size, and structural features, experts believe this vessel was likely part of a transport fleet that once operated in the area to support the construction and resupply efforts of the famous Transcontinental Railroad. These boats were essential in carrying massive quantities of lumber to construction zones and transporting goods from rail lines back to lakeside mining or logging camps. The discovery of this wreck not only holds archaeological significance, but also helps illuminate an often overlooked chapter in America's infrastructure history: the role of inland water transport in connecting early industry with a rapidly expanding railway system. In the early 1900s, when road systems were still undeveloped, boats played a critical role in transporting building materials, especially in remote and harsh environments like Utah. According to Dave Shearer, manager of the Great Salt Lake region, the size and shape of the wreck match perfectly with old documentation describing the freight boats that once served the lake. It may have been part of an unofficial yet vital logistical network that powered the industrial expansion of the United States. This discovery opens the possibility that many more shipwrecks may still lie beneath the lake's salt-crusted surface, waiting to be found. And indeed, in just the past few months, several similar finds have been reported. On the northern beaches of Florida, for example, 2 wooden boats, including one over 100 years old, were also uncovered, thanks to natural erosion and unique weather patterns. These ships are not just physical remnants, they are vivid historical markers that help us better understand the lives, technologies, and commerce of pre-modern America. Each ship recovered is like a puzzle piece in the grand mosaic of a nation's journey from wilderness to modernity. The story of the Great Salt Lake shipwreck is clear proof that the past is always present, just hidden beneath layers of earth and time. With each passing storm and every gust of wind that shifts the sands, we gain another glimpse of what once was. These rusting hulls and weathered timbers are more than decaying metal and splintered wood. They carry with them the memory of an era when people, in the face of hardship and isolation, still found ways to expand their world. And that, friends, is something truly admirable. On the 17th century Barbarie pirate shipwreck beneath the Strait of Gibraltar. Silent at a depth of 2,723 feet beneath the deep blue waters of the Strait of Gibraltar, the narrow passage separating Spain and Morocco, lies the wreck of a 46 feet long ancient ship recently confirmed as the first ever archaeological remains belonging to the infamous Barbarie pirates. No longer just a legend or rumor about ships plundering across the Mediterranean, this discovery is a vivid testament to a dark historical era when the seas were terrorized by manhunters, pirates specializing in capturing slaves and demanding ransom. This is not only a groundbreaking archaeological find, but also a key that unlocks a door to secrets hidden beneath the waves and buried by time for over 300 years. The sensational discovery was made by Odyssey Marine Exploration, OME, an ocean exploration company headquartered in Florida. Originally, the research team dived to survey the area in 2005, searching for the British warship HMS Sussex, which sank in 1694. However, during the expedition, they inadvertently encountered an unusual shipwreck with many distinctive features. Nearly 20 years later, after extensive analysis and cross-referencing with historical data, experts were able to announce in the journal Wreckwatch that the vessel was indeed a Barbarie pirate ship, those notorious marauders who wreaked havoc across Europe throughout the 17th and 18th centuries. According to marine archaeologist Sean Kingsley, the most remarkable aspect of this discovery is that the ship was found right in the heart of the Barbarie region, the central hub of North African piracy activity for centuries. The Barbarie pirates, mainly Muslim seafarers from areas such as Algiers, Tunisia, and Tripoli, then part of the Ottoman Empire, were a nightmare for every Mediterranean maritime route. These groups operated vigorously from the 15th century to the early 19th century, specializing in capturing European merchant ships, enslaving their crews for sale in North Africa, or demanding ransom from wealthy nations. Some of their attacks even extended to peaceful fishing villages along the coasts of France, Spain, Italy, and as far as Iceland. The remains recovered from the sunken ship leave no doubt about its purpose. Supported by remotely operated vehicles (ROVs), the archaeological team observed many characteristic features of a pirate warship, including 4 large cannons, 10 smaller artillery guns, and numerous muskets, indispensable weapons for pirates during lightning raids. Additionally, the ship was equipped with a spyglass, an advanced telescope of that era, used to observe and track target ships from a distance. All evidence indicates the ship was well armed and prepared for surprise attacks at sea. The vessel's structure resembled that of a typical fishing boat, with 2 large masts bearing triangular sails and a flexible system of oars, a perfect design for deceiving targets. According to Kingsley, this deceptive appearance helped the pirates approach other ships undetected. Meanwhile, the remaining cargo, including many pots and pans manufactured in Algiers, may have been used to disguise the ship as a legitimate merchant vessel, fooling European patrols or traders. What makes this find even more valuable is its historical context tied to the decline of the Barbarie pirates. By the early 19th century, after more than 200 years of terrorizing the seas, North African piracy was gradually eradicated through military campaigns by several European nations, notably during the 2 Barbarie Wars between the United States and Barbarie states like Algiers and Tripoli. These fierce battles marked not only the end of the notorious pirate era, but also the near elimination of slave trading in much of the Mediterranean region. The Barbarie pirate shipwreck beneath the Strait of Gibraltar is not merely a relic of the past, but a vivid mirror reflecting the conflicts, struggles, and survival instincts of an era. It was a time when the ocean was not a place of freedom, but a dangerous zone where humans hunted each other for profit and power. This discovery opens an unprecedented opportunity for maritime historians, archaeologists, and anthropologists, as it is one of the very few Barbarie pirate shipwrecks found and preserved well enough to reconstruct its story. With every artifact recovered and every decayed plank of wood examined beneath the sea, the past comes alive, not as myths embroidered in novels, but as cold, harsh historical facts. And sometimes it is these forgotten shipwrecks resting deep below the ocean that hold the darkest, yet most captivating, chapters in the flow of human history. 500-year-old shipwreck reveals medieval shipbuilding revolution in Sweden. Resting deep beneath the icy waters off Landfjorden, south of Stockholm, a shipwreck over 500 years old has just been confirmed as one of the most important maritime relics ever discovered in northern Europe. More than just a fragment of the past, the ship, currently referred to by the temporary name Wrack 5, challenges previous archaeological understandings of medieval shipbuilding techniques in Scandinavia. Dated to before 1480, possibly as early as the 1460s, Wrack 5 is now the oldest shipwreck in the region, built in the Carvel style, a groundbreaking maritime technology at a time when the oceans were becoming battlefields for European powers. Unlike traditional northern European ships, which typically employed the clinker technique, overlapping wooden planks, the Carvel method used flat planks joined edge to edge to create a smooth, sturdy hull capable of bearing heavy loads. This change was not only a mechanical or aesthetic improvement, but marked a major breakthrough. For the first time in history, ships could carry heavy cannons without breaking or cracking when fired. This is why the Carvel style, originating in the Mediterranean region as early as the 7th century, rapidly spread throughout Europe by the late 15th century, right as the world entered an age of exploration and naval warfare. According to Håkan Altrock, the curator of the Wrack Museum in Stockholm, which studies and preserves shipwrecks, the discovery of Wrack 5 is the key to understanding the transition from traditional to modern shipbuilding techniques in Swedish history. Initially, many believed the shipwrecks at Landfjorden were remnants from the Viking Age, circa 793 to 1066, but thorough research has shown most date from the 17th and 18th centuries. Wrack 5, however, stands out with an age of at least half a millennium. The ship's value goes beyond its age. It vividly illustrates the technological exchange between the cold northern European regions and the warm Mediterranean civilizations. Remarkably, much of the hull remains intact beneath sediment and cold seawater, ideal conditions for preserving wood over centuries. Structural analysis of Wrack 5 also reveals a robust internal framework, strong enough to support heavy artillery, something clinker-built ships could not withstand. Furthermore, dendrochronology, tree ring dating, indicates the timber used to build the ship was felled in the Kalmar or Blekinge regions of southern Sweden, revealing the origins and distribution networks of materials during that period. Not stopping at dating and shipbuilding technique, the archaeological team employed advanced photogrammetry technology to create an extremely detailed digital 3D model of the ship. By combining hundreds of digital photos taken from multiple angles, they reconstructed an accurate three-dimensional spatial representation of every part of the vessel. This not only aids research, but also paves the way for restoration models, allowing the public to admire and understand the unique beauty and structure of a ship that once sailed the cold winds of the Baltic Sea. Wrack 5 is more than just a shipwreck. It represents a turning point in European maritime history, where war, trade, and technology forced empires to evolve or be left behind. This ship is a testament to an era when the sea was no longer a boundary, but a pathway to conquest, where technological advances determined survival on the oceans. From weathered timbers to the hand-built smooth hull created by the Carvel technique, everything speaks to the craftsmanship and forward-thinking of shipbuilders over 500 years ago. Today, as the ship rests quietly beneath the sea, it still whispers stories of the past, of the people who built her, sailed her through storms, and finally let her sleep forever at the ocean's bottom. Mysterious shipwreck with hundreds of 800-year-old champagne bottles found at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. At a depth of approximately 190 feet beneath the icy waters of the Baltic Sea, about 20 nautical miles south of Öland Island, Sweden, a team of Polish divers from Baltic Tech discovered a 19th-century sailing shipwreck loaded with luxurious cargo, including more than 100 bottles of champagne, vintage Selters mineral water, and exquisite porcelain, all unopened. This is the first time a shipwreck has been found almost perfectly preserved with such a rare treasure of fine wine. According to team leader Tomasz Stachura, they stumbled upon the wreck while checking sonar signals at sea, and after a brief dive of about 2 hours, they descended to the seabed to explore. Enough time to be amazed when their diving lights revealed barrels of wine filling the ship's hold like a hidden treasure. Many champagne bottles are believed to have been produced by the Louis Roederer house, which made special batches for the court of Tsar Alexander II, or at least targeted the Swedish aristocracy, as some bottle corks bear the letter R. The discovery is further notable for the Selters mineral water bottles made of clay and sealed with stamps from a factory in Hesse, Germany, dating back to the mid-19th century, 1850 to 1867. This mineral water was once considered a royal elixir, reserved for nobility, and shipments were often escorted by police to ensure safety. Stable weather, mild currents, darkness, and the cold temperatures deep under the sea have miraculously preserved both the shipwreck and its contents. The champagne bottles still contain carbonation, and experts believe the yeast and flavor may be intact, possibly still drinkable. The ship likely transported goods from Europe to Northern Europe or Tsarist Russia when it sank. The excavation team hopes to receive permission from Swedish authorities to safely salvage and examine the champagne and Selters bottles, collaborating with wine experts and archaeologists to determine their precise origin and true value. From an archaeological perspective, this is an unprecedented discovery, not only historically valuable, but also opening opportunities to study techniques of preserving liquids in deep ocean conditions. The shipwreck is estimated to date back about 170 years, from the mid-19th century, coinciding with a period of rapid international sea route development. During this time, luxury goods such as champagne from Reims, France, and Selters, mineral water from Germany were commonly transported by merchant ships through the Baltic region. The cause of the sinking remains a mystery, possibly due to lightning strikes, poor navigation, or bad weather. However, the discovery is more than just wine underwater. It is a vivid testament to the 19th century luxury trade network that explains how lavish goods reached European royal courts and aristocracy. At the same time, it serves as a wake-up call for preserving maritime heritage, as each shipwreck is not only an archaeological artifact, but also a part of untold history. In the future, if the ship and its cargo are safely salvaged, a special exhibition on ancient wine from the Baltic Sea could be created, where history, science, and culture intersect. Wine testing might even reveal lost fermentation secrets from the past. Now resting quietly beneath the salty, cold sand, the ship awaits an opportunity to continue its story. One day, we may raise a glass with 170-year-old champagne in a place where past and present meet, rediscovering the original value of Europe's royal wines. The Danish king's shipwreck and its mysterious 500-year-old royal spice cargo. Deep beneath the cold, murky waters off Ronneby in the Baltic Sea, Sweden, the wreck of the Gri Shundan, the royal warship of King Hans of Denmark and Norway, has rested since 1495. More than just a historical relic, Gri Shundan preserves a uniquely rare royal spice cabinet containing saffron, peppercorns, cloves, and ginger, once symbols of power and timeless wealth. These precious treasures were uncovered under the guidance of marine archaeologist Brendan Foley, along with divers and experts from Lund University, opening a fresh perspective on the lavish lifestyle of medieval European elites. Known as the Lion's Bark, Gri Shundan was the flagship of King Hans's fleet. He was en route to Kalmar to attend a critical meeting aimed at persuading Sweden to join the Kalmar Union. In 1495, while preparing to dock at Ronneby, the ship suddenly caught fire and sank to the depths. For over 5 centuries, the wreck remained remarkably well preserved thanks to the Baltic Sea's cold temperatures, low oxygen levels, and low salinity, making it an underwater archaeological gem valued not only for its material remains but also for its cultural memory. Since the 1960s, sporadic excavations recovered intricately carved wooden figureheads and thick timber beams. However, it was only between 2019 and 2021, with the discovery of the spice cargo, that the true opulence of King Hans's royal voyages was fully realized. The spice containers were buried deep in sediment at the rear of the ship, where the king and his court once rested. They appear to have brought short casks of these luxury spices to welcome guests with meals fit for royalty. Most astonishingly, the saffron stigmas have retained their bright orange-red color and signature aroma when dissolved in water, almost miraculous after more than 500 years underwater. This is the first time saffron has been found archaeologically in Northern Europe, making the discovery exceptionally valuable. Alongside saffron, peppercorns, cloves, and ginger, many sourced from India or Southeast Asia, demonstrate that King Hans was not only a European monarch but also a founder of cross-continental trade networks, a testament to the expansion of medieval commerce. Experts agree the Baltic Sea provides an ideal preservation environment for organic materials due to its low temperatures, weak salinity, and oxygen-poor conditions that inhibit microorganisms responsible for decay. This has allowed Gri Shundan to retain details once thought impossible to preserve, from wood grain to armor fragments, spice packets, and even the ship's anchor. Biodiversity analysis of sediment samples identified around 40 different plant species, from local berries such as raspberries, cloudberries, and hazelnuts to luxury spices and almonds, proof that the royal palate was as diverse and rich as the political journeys they undertook. Although the spice cargo might appear as small packets, in terms of historical market value, each saffron stigma represented a fortune, exclusively owned by the aristocracy. They were carried not just for comfort, but to signal political status and sophistication during receptions and grand feasts. Thus, Gri Shundan was more than a warship. It carried the culture and power of a king to the Kalmar meeting, making its tragic sinking even more historically poignant. Scientifically, this discovery marks a major advance in marine archaeology and archaeobotany. Using photogrammetry and chemical sampling, the research team reconstructed the ship's detailed structure, dated the wood, and traced the origin of the spices, painting a vivid picture of royal living standards and consumption habits during the Renaissance. Today, Gri Shundan lies silent on the seabed, but has been revived as a floating museum redolent with saffron, spicy ginger, and pungent pepper aromas. It tells the story of a kingdom that dreamed of building a Nordic union, only to sink into oblivion by an unexpected accident. Thanks to the tireless efforts of archaeologists like Brendan Foley and the Lund team, King Hans's story and Gri Shundan live again. Not just through historical records, but through the very taste and scent of royal spices preserved beneath the Baltic Sea. So the next time you enjoy a dish flavored with saffron, remember that each stigma may have once graced a royal banquet over half a millennium ago. And now, it tells the tale of a peaceful sea heart named Gri Shundan. A 2,500-year-old shipwreck in the Aegean Sea. In 2019, during a routine survey, the IPTO Center, the Greek Energy Coordination Authority, accidentally discovered hundreds of ancient Greek ceramic jars scattered on the seabed more than 720 feet deep, near the waters between the small town of Neapolis and the island of Kythera. Following these clues, they uncovered the wreck of an ancient ship, living evidence of a bustling trade era in the Aegean Sea over 2 millennia ago, when the ancient Greek Empire was flourishing. This shipwreck is far from an ordinary one. It is considered an unprecedented archaeological treasure. On its deck, archaeologists found numerous ancient ceramic jars originating from famous islands such as Corfu, Skopelos, and Chios, renowned centers of trade and pottery production in antiquity. The concentration of these jars at one site indicates this was once a major shipping route, linking the islands with mainland Greece and, more broadly, the Mediterranean. This discovery sheds light on the scale and sophistication of trade activities some 2,500 years ago. To thoroughly explore the wreck, scientists from the Hellenic Center for Marine Research deployed the oceanographic vessel Aegean, equipped with a state-of-the-art remotely operated vehicle called Max Rover. This technology allowed them to capture detailed images of the wreck, discover additional clay jars from Chios, and identify 3 large pythos containers, a type of massive ceramic vessel used for storing food or goods. Moreover, this technology enabled the team to create a 3D model of the shipwreck, allowing precise measurements of the vessel's size and calculations of the remaining cargo weight on deck, a task requiring both technical skill and patience to reconstruct the entire historical narrative lying beneath the sea. This find marks a turning point not only in Greek archaeology, but also revives a significant part of the Aegean's cultural heritage. Once a hotspot for ancient merchants, ships laden with goods, from ceramics to rare raw materials, linked islands and the mainland, serving as evidence of the prosperity and international trade of the ancient Greek Empire. Previously, another groundbreaking discovery related to an ancient Greek shipwreck was found in the Black Sea in 2018. A 246-foot-long commercial ship, considered the most intact ever excavated in the region, with its mast, rudder, and oars preserved after more than 2,400 years. This shipwreck lies in a famous ship graveyard, where archaeologists have uncovered about 60 other ancient wrecks. This find not only clarifies ancient shipbuilding techniques, but is also crucial for reconstructing trade routes and cargo transport during ancient Greece. Interestingly, this ship evokes legendary tales such as Odysseus's journey in the Odyssey, where he tied himself to the mast to resist the enchanting song of the sirens. The ship's design, resembling depictions on pottery such as the siren vase in the British Museum, not only confirms the actual existence of merchant ships portrayed in ancient art, but also offers a fresh perspective on the link between history and myth. The 2019 Aegean discovery, combined with the Black Sea find, has broadened our understanding of the extent and influence of ancient Greek merchants. John Adams, lead archaeologist of the Black Sea Maritime Archaeology Project, noted that Greek merchants were likely involved not only in trade, but also in coastal warfare. He particularly suggested that some of these ships' main ports were located at ancient settlements along today's Bulgarian coastline, demonstrating the complex and extensive trade networks developed by coastal cities. These discoveries are not merely stories about shipwrecks and artifacts, they are living proof of the remarkable advancements in shipbuilding and commerce in the ancient world. They evoke images of perilous voyages across treacherous seas where sailors faced not only storms, but also warfare, piracy, and historical upheavals. These ships paved the way for cultural and economic exchanges between ancient civilizations, laying the foundations for the modern world. Using modern technology and a passion for discovery, today's archaeologists help us not only see, but also feel the bustling life of ancient Greek merchants, experiencing the flavors of commerce and life from over 2,000 years ago, right beneath the Aegean Sea. Every ceramic jar, every piece of wood remaining, tells a wondrous story about a golden era in maritime history and ancient global trade. As you can see, the mystery of ships lost and sunk decades ago continues to puzzle scientists because the reasons why they sank and what their place is in history remain very difficult to uncover. What do you think about this? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any other exciting discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you next time.